Information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. Stand clear, done man attack. You can't stand where I stand, you can't walk where I walk. Watch out, we run New York. Policeman come, we bust him out the park. I know this for a fact, you don't like how I act. You claim I'm selling crack, but you be doing that. I'd rather say see ya, cause I would never be ya. Be a officer, you wicked overseer. You hot shot, wanna get props and be a savior. First show a little respect, change your behavior. Change your attitude, change your plan. There could never really be justice on stolen land. Are you really for peace and equality? Or when my car's hooked up, you know you wanna follow me. Your laws are minimal, cause you won't even think about looking at the real criminal. This has got to cease, cause we be getting hyped to the sound of the police.
Happy Monday. Welcome in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope you are relaxed. You had an amazing weekend. And you are ready to get into these trending topics and headlines, because as always, the culture didn't take any time off. And you know, Andy's always on theme up here. You know how we get down. So, little KRS-One to bring us in, because the police are policing. You know, we're going to get into the details of Terence Bud Crawford. Immediately following his victory parade in Omaha, Nebraska, he ended up with guns in the face. So we'll give you the details on that. We're also talking Super Bowl halftime show. There's been a selection made. Want to know what your thoughts are on it? There were some names that were swimming around that did not transpire. Gotta be honest, really wouldn't have been interested in seeing, well, either of those two, even though I don't really have an opinion about the acts. But we'll get into all of that. And we're also talking, you know, Ghostface Killah of Wu-Tang Clan. His son, he has a diss track for his dad. We'll get into why the diss track exists, the catalyst for it, and, you know, have a little bit of conversation about public beef, private issues. It's never a good thing, but maybe it is. You know, we'll have to see. We're going to get into it. But before we do all of that, you know how I like to start the evening off. Got a couple of conversation starters to get you in the mix, get you going. So, in the 80s, Friday nights, I believe 9 or 10 p.m., if you were watching NBC, you checked out Miami Vice with Philip Michael Thomas and Don Johnson. I mean, how can we forget that? Probably one of the first times a lot of people heard Phil Collins. Is it called In the Air? Believe it. You know, I can feel it. Miami Vice, right? Miami Vice, actually, if you really look at it, what Michael Mann did with that show, he really set the style for music videos and TV shows that kind of ride that line between thriller and, you know, the chase. it was set with Miami Vice. Well, they're talking reboot for the third time because remember, there was a Miami Vice film that came out back in the mid-2000s with Jamie Foxx and I believe it was Colin Farrell. Well, they're working on a reboot now, and this time Universal wants Michael B. Jordan and Glenn Powell to suit up as Crockett and Tubbs. And it would be directed by Joseph Kosinski. He is the creative behind Top Gun Maverick, which we know did massive at the box office. So, Hollywood is still obsessed with reboots. The hope is for another Type Gun-esque celebration at the end, right? Powell was just in Twisters. Of course, Michael B. Jordan was just in Sinners. Studios want proven formulas because y'all don't go to the movies no more. I don't know what y'all do. But it better be fire, right? The fashion's got a fashion, the cars, the women, the ambiance. I don't know. I feel like just do a detective series or a film in Miami. Not Miami Vice. We tried that. It didn't work. And it's classic. It set the tone for so many things. Why do we need to see it again in 2025? There's so many other scripts, scenarios, right? And again, could be two detectives in Miami, just not Ricardo and Tubbs. Tired. Andy?
Nostalgia is winning.
It is, but is it winning because people are scared to step outside of the box because profits are so slim in some cases because we are overrun with content? We have never had access to this much content in our lifetimes, right? So how many things do you intend to watch but never get around to? What are the things that you are immediately going to get in there and stick to, right? So they believe that the familiarity will draw you in along with the names of the celebrities. However, I believe there's a certain amount of fatigue that has come with all of these reboots and reimagination. We can handle original stories. We can learn to love original stories. Right? And I know that is just a part of the game. How many times have Shakespeare plays been done over and over again? Superman, they can stop that. Spider-Man, leave Tom Holland as the last one. They're going to reboot the X-Men's franchise. There's so many new stories in the same genre. Why do we need to retread? When we come forward, we'll get into more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandlost.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So, of course, you know how this goes down. If at any point you want to get in on this conversation, 800-920-1580. Of course, we're on social media. Hit us up, KBLA 1580. Visit the Wellness Hub. We have a new Wellness Hub that's connected to our website and our app, of course, because what do we always say? We want you to live and thrive and be healthy. You know, black people, everybody really, but black people especially. Take care of your health. And of course, you know, we got a social media situation popping off in the YouTube chat. The chat, they're already chatting. Join us there. Get the visual to go along with the audio. Speaking of, let's see what is already being discussed in the chat. DJ Black 909 says, the song Easy Lover by Philip Bailey and Phil Collins is associated with Miami Vice because it was featured on multiple official soundtracks. She's an easy... Look, let me not sing, but that was a bop, little 80s one. All right, DJ Black 909. Look at you knowing a little bit of music history. That is true. But doesn't mean that you know, are going to extend your catalog back to, you know, mid-80s pop hits. I'm impressed. Shout out to you. Maurice says, reboots are boring and lazy. Can't say that I disagree. You know, there's been a few that have been okay. But, for example, what are we on, our fourth or fifth Fantastic Four reboot? And each and every time, we got to start from the beginning. As if, enough, please. There's enough originality out there that you could pluck from that. DJ Black 909 also says, for my video game heads, it was GTA Vice City that introduced me to Miami Vice, the cultural phenomenon. I must say, GTA is like, you know, that's a classic game. I feel like it had all the things that you used to wish you could see in a video game. They came in right at the right time. And when you used to be able to switch the stations and they would have different vibes, that was fly. I still have, to this day, a box set. I can't remember which GTA it was. This is early. It was like early 2000s of the different radio stations that were available on GTA and the soundtracks. So I'm going to pull that out and see what was on there. Shout out to that. And then there's some debate on who's the real Superman. We have votes for Christopher Reeves, Dean Cain. Nobody's mentioning, what is his name? Adam West from back in the 60s.
Christopher Reeve all day.
I agree with that. Because when he caught Lois Lane and she was like, "You've got me? Who's got you?" That was like my favorite. I was like, ah. Yeah, I'm just, and the original Justice League cartoon from, I guess, the 70s or whatever. That was an Saturday morning after school thing. Shout out to that. Royal Jenkins says Rick James, Barry White on GTA. Listen, those stations, it really helped transform. They would get real DJs on it. Think about how far we've come and what video games have now and all of the things you can do with Roblox, for example, right? Some of the seeds from that type of thing were born from GTA and things like The Sims. I've never played The Sims in my life. Never. But I used to see people talking about it. I think you were referring to either GTA 3, Vice City, or San Andreas. It probably was San Andreas because obviously San Andreas was the LA one, West Side, all the things. If it had like 6 different radio stations, then... okay, so Andy said all of them did. See, by the time that came around, like, I tested it out because, fun, but I haven't been a video game head in years. Decades.
So you was a video game head at one point?
When I was a child.
What was your system of choice? Atari?
Yeah, Atari 1600. Straight up, what are you saying? A joystick and an orange button. All the pushing and the directional thing. My thumbs are not equipped for that. Although they should be because I was a sidekick person.
So Nintendo was too advanced for you?
I didn't have a Nintendo. So listen,
a regular Nintendo.
Right. Listen, I've owned as recently as, an Xbox and a PlayStation.
Okay. Nice.
But did I play them? No. It was merely for social, interactions and stuff like that.
Visitors come through and all that.
My daughter. But,
That's right.
My last gaming system that I actually played was Sega Genesis. So, I was heavy Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter.
Sonic.
Those were my games. Did not play Sonic.
Wow.
Like, played a couple times, didn't care, like, it wasn't interesting to me. I grew up on Pac-Man, so Sonic was just like, whatever.
Galaga and all that.
Yeah. Centipede, Cubert.
Arcades, huh?
Asteroid. Arcades, for real.
Shout out to Costco. Last time I went to Costco, they was like selling like actual mini arcade, or was that Best Buy? It was one of them joints, but they were selling like mini arcades for like $500.
I want one. Those used to be so expensive back in the day. Like, that was the baller thing. If you went to someone's house and they had an actual arcade video game machine in their house, a pinball machine, and the big arcade games or the tabletop ones, man, you were like, oh, you were black. You were balling out of control. Morris Phillips asks in the chat, would a black Superman be wearing a fro, curls, or dreads? That's a great question.
Today,
a
locks.
Fade.
Today, locks.
Locks?
Yeah.
I could see that.
If this was the 80s, a fro.
They didn't rock fros in
okay,
the 80s.
70s, excuse me.
Yeah.
70s.
I'm going to go with the classic fade. Always.
90s.
90s.
But today, locks for
locks
sure.
for sure. All right, listen.
2000s?
2000?
Cornrows.
Man, that probably, right? Yeah. Everybody had that cornrow phrase. AI? Yeah. D'Angelo?
I feel like it was Allen Iverson who
No,
created
it was. I'm just saying, though. But, like, I feel like D'Angelo was one of the early guys in music. I could be wrong
With
during that
cornrows?
time period.
Exhibit has some.
I think Exhibit
braids.
came after, though, right? Because D'Angelo dropped in 95.
You're right.
So, and Exhibit's hip-hop. D'Angelo's R&B.
Yeah.
Slight distinction. La Martini Sterling says there were better movies on the networks in the 1970s with regards to originality than what's out there now. Stop all the reboots. I agree. And then furthermore, why not reboot some of the obscure stuff? Right? Again, I don't understand why we need 47,000 Fantastic Fours. That's just me, though. All right, let's get into Terence Bud Crawford. Now, we know Bud beat Canelo in Vegas earlier this month. Big ups to him, uniting all the belts, doing what some said couldn't be done, right? So fresh off his victory, he was in Omaha, where he is from, and coming from his victory parade, and he went from champ of the city to face down on the sidewalk, stopped at gunpoint by the police. This happened at 1:30 a.m. over the weekend. The cops said that the car was driving recklessly, and they claimed they spotted a firearm on the floorboard. Now, there's a viral video out of Crawford repeating, "I'm not reaching for a gun. I'm not reaching for no gun," right? So you can check that out online. You know, from world champion to just another black man at the mercy of police escalating a situation. I don't know. Guns drawn is crazy to me each and every time. I just, each and every time, it's crazy to me. But he was released, wasn't ticketed, so, you know, I guess they figured out who he was. I'm not sure. But Omaha PDs have had a documented issue with racial profiling. So some are saying, could this be? Could this be? Usually we all know the answer. And, you know, it's just a shame that coming from your championship parade, the city's putting on from you, that you were treated like that. And please understand, I am not saying that if he was speeding or breaking the law, he should have been given, you know, special treatment or whatever. But what I am saying is, if he was driving reckless, how does that equal guns drawn, pulling you over face down? That's all. We have these questions and conversations far too often, as we all know. And, you know, hopefully one day it won't be. All right. So there's been a lot of speculation about who would be the halftime performer for Super Bowl, right? And listen, there were rumors that maybe it was going to be Adele, that Travis Kelce's fiance was going to pop up there. Now, let me tell you, Taylor Swift, and I can understand why maybe she wouldn't want to do it yet, you know, right now, because there's been this weird fascination, retaliation, you know, anger almost at her for showing up at the games, taking attention away. The Swifties, you know, people would probably be afraid they would take over the Super Bowl. But so I can understand her maybe waiting it out. Travis is probably going to retire in a couple years, and then she can swing back around and do that, right? She certainly has the catalog. Adele, snooze. And not because I don't like her music, but I don't like her music for a Super Bowl halftime show. That's not it. And I think the selection they made makes sense when you look at the NFL expanding globally. How many games do they have outside of the United States this season with those plans to continue? They're talking about expansion into Europe, right? And considering the residency that this artist just came off of in Puerto Rico, that so many people were headed down to the island to check it out, and he was getting rave reviews, sold out. We talked about it last week on this show, actually. Bad Bunny, you know, he is going to be the halftime headliner. And Jay-Z said it's for the culture. Y'all feel how you feel about Jay. Do with it what you may. Jay says what Benito has done for Puerto Rico is inspiring. Bad Bunny said, "This is for my people, my culture, and our history." He is the first solo Latin headliner, right? It's obviously a global pivot. Now, we know when Live Nation first took over, I believe they had, was it J-Lo? And I think Shakira popped out with her, right? A few years back. But Bad Bunny, I don't know, the thing that I'm unsure of, because I can't say that I am a fan or consumer of his music. There's some songs that I have heard that I'm like, oh, okay, but I don't have intimate knowledge of it. However, people seem to love him. He has like 30 million listeners monthly on Spotify. So I think it is an excellent move. DJ Black 909 in the chat says the Super Bowl is in the Bay. Pick E40, Too Short, MC Hammer, Larry June, LaRussell, Sweetie, Kamaya, Bad Bunny is not even American. 50
Let's
states
stop with
wide.
all that.
Come on.
Just because it's in Oakland, we got to do the whole Oakland artists and stuff. Let's stop with all that. We wasn't talking about that type of stuff before Dr. Dre.
Because we're trendsetters. You know everybody want to be us. But here's the thing with that, too. I feel like we've been hardcore hip-hop urban for the past few years, right? I don't have a problem with them bringing it back to some pop, right? I think that, there should be some balance. So, half the stadium won't understand the lyrics, but everybody gonna move. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna party, right? And Rock Nation has been handling the Super Bowl halftime show since 2019. We've had Shakira and J-Lo, Dre and Snoop, Rihanna, Usher, Kendrick, Lady Gaga.
Shout out to the Latinos.
The Weeknd.
It's your turn.
Right? Big up. Get it in there. This is big for them. I missed the Bad Bunny concert, the final one on Amazon last weekend, but people love it, so I'm ready to check it out. It's right up the street in the Bay, 2027, back in L.A. What it do, boo? When we come forward, more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Dímelo, parcero. Siempre con la seta y no somos salseros. Ya Susan soltero. Dijo que te va la babera aguacero. Gusanos como tú, yo no los tolero.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. This week, a trio of federal judges will consider whether Texas can use its new congressional map in next year's election. It's being challenged by the National Democratic Redistricting Committee.
There was no new census data, no court ruling, and no sound legal reasoning that required Texas to redraw its map.
The federal judges will decide if new districts can be used in the midterms, and if not, which map should be used instead. Apple is investing in a Detroit nonprofit. 13,000 people will receive a coat that transforms into a sleeping bag from Empowerment Plan. The nonprofit has a goal of breaking the cycle of homelessness by providing full-time jobs to individuals making multi-use coats for those in need. And Tropical Storm Imelda may become a hurricane by tomorrow as it continues to strengthen in the Atlantic. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In downtown Los Angeles, the 110 freeway northbound at the 10. It's a crash on the right shoulder that's being worked on. Northbound 110 at 3rd Street. There's a broken down vehicle was in the way. That has been towed out of the roadway now. But between those two problems, traffic is stop and go from Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. In Carson, trouble now for the 91 freeway, eastbound before Main Street. That's a crash blocking the carpool lane.
Want to save a few bucks this season? Then head over to your local Big O Tires for their Save a Buck sales event. You'll save up to $250 on select sets of tires with paid installation through October 19th. The Save a Buck sales event, now at your local Big O Tires.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was the recommendation of doctors and trainers that led to the decision of advising USC women's basketball star Juju Watkins to sit out the entire 2025-26 season. Watkins is still recovering from a torn ACL in her right knee and was not expected to play until at least January. The Compton native was injured March 24 during a second-round NCAA tournament game against Mississippi State. Watkins, a first-team All-American last season, will have 2 years of eligibility remaining at USC. Top 5 college football teams in this week's top 25 poll: Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, Mississippi, and Oklahoma. 4-1 USC fell out of the top 25 after their 34-32 loss at Illinois on Saturday. Jackson State remained at number 17 in this week's Division I AA poll. The Tigers defeated Southern University Saturday 38-13. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tommy Natola lives on the road. He lost his lady 2 months ago. For what? The same thing they did. Maybe he'll find her. Maybe he won't. Oh, wonder the love.
Brothers try to pass me, but none can match me. No girl can freak me, I'm just too nasty. Lost on the dance floors, I attack y'all. Snuck through the back door, guess who they saw? Goldie and Ghost, black African rope, star-studded lowlanders, plus the mural was dope. Airbrush WB, stop.
Shake your body, body.
And cop a couple of these.
She's a hottie, hottie.
Godfrey and Chauncey, very upset.
For what? For what?
They're sick and tired of living in debt. Tired of roaches and tired of rats. I know they are all
One in that
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. And you know, Andy is always on theme. Supreme Clientele. Shout out to the Wu-Tang, Ghostface, RZA, ODB, Meth, Inspector Deck.
I think you got like 4 more.
Listen, I cannot comfortably name all members of Wu-Tang. I absolutely cannot.
You got?
Okay.
Capadonna.
Forgot about Capadonna.
Raekwon
the chef. How could I forget about Raekwon?
Did you say Meth?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you got them all covered.
Yeah, it's hard. So, like, you know, I always got these random stories, right? I remember back in the day, I was driving down La Cienega, headed to the Beverly Center, and there's this hotel that is on the corner of like La Cienega and San Vicente. There used to be a Fat Burger across the street. The hotel at the time was called the Hotel Nico. It's now called the SLS. So, and a lot of celebrities would stay there, like when they came in town to do Soul Train or radio or whatever. It was one of the popular hotels, right? And so one day, again, I was caught in traffic on La Cienega, and I see Ghostface walking down the street, because it's not that far from the Beverly Center. And so I think my friend rolled down the window and she was like, "Aren't you that guy from Wu-Tang?" And I can't remember what he said back, but he was like, "Hey, can you guys give me a ride to the mall?" So we were like, "Sure." So we drove him to the mall, like nothing happened. He thanked us, and we, you know, everybody went about their day. We had a little chit chat in the car, but in our mind, we're like, you're just getting in the car with some strangers in LA, just rolling out, just on an adventure. Listen, would you do that in 2025? Oh, I kind of feel like no.
Shout out to Uber and Lyft.
Right. I mean, I guess we do, but at least there's some way to track that, right? Somebody, you could send somebody the little, whatever the message, so that they'll know what's going on. Okay, so before we get into why we're playing Ghostface, we got a phone call. Wait, shout out to the chat. Royal Jenkins said, "This Bad Bunny is the Ricky Martin experience at the Grammys 1998. Let me remind you, Ricky was banging it out in 98. People still thought he was ruler straight. I don't know if they believed it, but that's what we were rolling with. And he was doing his thing. And shout out to the 80s, Menudo Man, yeah. That group was nuts. Like when you got to be about 15 or 16, they would kick you out the group because you were too old and replace you with a younger member. What in the Logan's Run are we doing? You know? And obviously we've heard about the craziness that came from that situation, but nah. All right, we got a caller on the 9. Shout out to Eric from Carson. Eric, what's on your mind this Monday evening?
Hey, what's up, Jill?
What's up?
I wanted to talk about Bad Bunny real quick.
Of course.
And so the Super Bowl is known to host the artist with the broadest appeal. And
who said
last
that?
year,
Who said that?
That's I'm saying that based on my research.
What research? Where'd you look that up? Who said that?
So somebody said it. It was a really important person that said it.
Okay.
And so
I don't believe you, by the way, but go ahead, because that's not true.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So I'll tell you something that is non-disputable.
Okay.
Is in 2025, there was 127.7 million viewers of the Super Bowl halftime show. And that show hosted, as we know, Kendrick Lamar. And the new things that were introduced was streaming, and they had major advertising. And Kendrick, you know, his popular diss track to Drake, and his featured, you know, Sam Jackson and Serena Williams added appeal to that show, which was the most viewed show ever. This is not me saying that, that's a fact. So bringing it home, can Bad Bunny appeal is he capable of resonating with a vast audience? I've seen him perform live. I'm not really into it, but he's good. He's just not for me. But is this an artist that can appeal to the masses? And so that's not me. That's just a question that I'm asking. I'm not giving the answer. I'm just asking the question. Can he do what Kendrick Lamar did? Can he do it?
Yeah. And this is not a shade. This isn't a diss. I think it's apples and oranges, right? I think Bad Bunny could potentially have, in some ways, more universal appeal than Kendrick, because Kendrick's performance, as we've talked about, very coded, very black, very, American, in your face, right? Bad Bunny has 27 million monthly Spotify listeners, right? So if even half of those people show up, right? And we're just talking about his fans. I'm not talking about football fans or any of that, right? It's going to be a win. I think that the key to it is, can they perform well? Are they going to give a good show? Because a lot of the times, do you think that Lady Gaga is a pop artist and huge, but do you think the guys in Omaha knew her music?
No.
Probably not, right? But she killed it. It was a great show. Do you think that, Beyonce, Bruno Mars, we've had like Maroon 5, like all sorts of acts have gone through that phase. Remember, before Michael Jackson, it was Up With People performing at halftime, like marching bands and floats. This was all done to combat In Living Color. So, the show, not the group. So, it's entertainment, and I think that they are taking the smart approach. They put pop with an urban lean, on these last 5 years, if you think about it, because Rihanna, we love her, but she's pop, right? So even though we got a lot of what we wanted, I think it's time to give the people something that they want. And oh, by the way, if you can get somebody that just came off of a 30-day residency in Puerto Rico that did numbers, I think his Amazon concert, the final show that aired last Saturday, I can't remember the number for viewers, but it was up there. I'm going to look it up and I'll get you the numbers. Andy?
Hey,
I was
going to say he might bring Cardi B out. He does have that fire record.
He might bring Drake out.
Low key.
So,
he has that appeal.
He has a lot.
I just want to say, in closing, that you just hit the nail on the head. So I think the bottom line is that he will bring viewers. I don't think he's going to hold the normal viewers. I don't think he's going to entertain.
I think that you are short selling the performance value, and he's going to be coming along with some of his celebrity friends. He has songs with a lot of individuals that people would like to see come up there on that stage. So.
And I'm over here like, are we like really like tripping right now about Bad Bunny performing? Somebody said in the chat, like, we had a cool little run. Like,
we did.
You know what I'm saying? It was like maybe 5 years where hip hop and R&B was highlighted. Before that, it was nothing but like rock and pop. You know what I'm saying? Let's mix it up, y'all.
So this is political.
It's not political, bruh.
No, it's just doing what it is doing. Like, here's the thing, right? Realistically, do you think that it should be urban acts every year? I don't.
I kind of think that it should be, and I'm not saying it isn't, I think it should be listen to this, what the normal football viewers want to see.
What would that be? You don't know. If that's the case, you're not seeing any of those hip hop acts. Maybe.
No?
Not really. You were seeing Faith Hill. You were seeing, maybe you'll get a Bono. something like that.
Look, I'm also say this. I think we're also underestimating the power of the NFL globally too.
Facts.
They recently was in Dublin, Ireland.
They just performed in Brazil not too long ago.
And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think that these were markets that would have gravitated towards American football, considering what their version of football and how popular that is. So if we do have people around the world that's tapping into American football like that, I'm just saying, who's to say that the country of Puerto Rico, where Bad Bunny is from, which is an American, I don't know what you call it, not a state, but
territory,
American territory. You know what I'm saying? That's just more views on a global scale.
Facts.
You got to think global.
We're moving away from what it's really about into something more marketable, like everything else in the world.
The Super
Did you
Bowl
feel
is a
that way about
business.
Shakira and J-Lo? Probably not.
What was that, Jill?
Did you feel that way about J-Lo and Shakira?
No, because I felt like they were somebody that the masses wanted to see. And
You
Bad Bunny might be.
Don't want to see. I just told you he has 30 million monthly views on Spotify. What would make you think that is not something that people want to see? Maybe you don't.
Okay, to save myself before we go, let me just say this real quick. A viewer for the Super Bowl halftime show should be somebody who's sitting in to see the Super Bowl, not somebody who's just drinking and eating and just want to watch the halftime show. So he'll bring in people who just want to see the halftime show, but I'm talking about people that are going to watch from the beginning to end. I mean,
they never do. Generally speaking, we get spikes during halftime. So you never know what you're going to get. When we come forward, we got more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
September is World Alzheimer's Month, a time to shine a light on a public health crisis that hits Black families hardest. 1 in 5 Black adults ages 70 and older is living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, and it's not a normal part of aging. Early signs like repeating questions, missed appointments, even trouble handling bills might seem small, but they matter. The good news? There are treatment options available that may slow AD when diagnosed early. Don't wait. Visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com to learn more. This message is brought to you by AZI.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate, with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless, for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. It's Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So Wu-Tang Clan obviously built an empire based on family, loyalty, hot lyrics, raw sounds, right? Back in the 90s. But Ghostface Killah's son says he hasn't spoken to his father in over a decade because of his sexuality. His name is Infinite Coles, and he's just dropped a single, Sweetface Killah, Dad and I, right? And he says that his father distanced himself when he came out, right? And he is out. He's a little flamboyant, right? He says one of his lyrics in the song, and the song's kind of hot, right? It eats, I fear, a tad bit. The gift of wordplay did not skip this generation. In one point, he says, got a pretty face, but not afraid to get ugly, right? And he's dissing his dad, talking about, does he want him, Infinite, to sag his pants so it can be as low as Ghost's self-esteem to make him feel like a man. Like, listen to the track. There's some wordplay in there, and, it's kind of fear, but he is a femme gay man, right? I don't know if that's what he would call it, but that's the best way I can explain it to you. Like, lips, jewelry, nails, hair, okay? And, he said that though Ghost has distanced himself, he credits RZA for financial and emotional support. This is Uncle. He's held him down. We know hip hop is fraught with a history of homophobia, generational clashes, but I know it may not be enough. Hip hop has come a long way, though. Someone like Saucy Santana exists in the hip hop space. That couldn't have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It really couldn't. Think about how many people tried to end Wendy based off of rumors and innuendos, right? Lil Nas X. Prayers, hope that brother's taking care of himself. Those things could not exist in hip hop if there wasn't an evolution in any capacity. Couldn't even get signed. So let's give it up for that, right? Infinite has ballroom roots, right? And he's, they have the ballrooms, the balls in New York. There's a whole new lane being carved. I'm here for it. You hope that he and his father can come to some type of accord that is still family. I am not advocating for being, abused, whether that be language, physical, any of that. But you do hope that they can find some type of middle ground, even if it isn't a full-on acceptance, right? So we'll see what develops with that. I feel for everybody in the situation. Morris Phillips says everybody's out of the closet sexually and politically. But, people take that in some ways for granted, right? I know. And I guess this might be one of the reasons why people that are older get so burnt out on Gen Z and maybe younger millennials, and when they feel that they're whiny or complaining or being too sensitive, because they really don't understand the restrictions, the imagery that we had to project out in order to be considered, regular, normal, or to, and I say we, because I mean, everybody has had a moment where they may have had to, slip into a facade that maybe wasn't what they wanted to be. Whether you are code switching at work or any of the things, there is so much that could not have taken place prior to this time period. And I know some people feel like it's too much, but I think the bottom line is allow people to cook for themselves. What you do for yourself is something different, But we'll see what happens. One more thing before we get out of here, I just want to share. We're going to talk about Dame Dash suing the Breakfast Club tomorrow. Okay? Dame is tripping. I'm still very sad that he is going out like this. His reasoning, I'll just get into it really, really quick. He's suing because he said Charlemagne said he had on dirty shoes, and that messes with his image. And they tried to play in his face, and he's suing them for defamation. So good luck with that, Dame. Second, since we're talking bitter grapes, Nicki Minaj, she's coming out dropping during Cardi's drop because she can't just let the woman have her moment. Well, Cardi didn't surpass Nicki as the top female rapper of the decade with this second drop. Now, she is historic in that her first 2 debut albums came out #1. But I think the number was 227,000. Cardi topped off somewhere at around 200,000 physical sales. But that's still amazing. Nicki Minaj said that she is leaking the song titles for her upcoming album. First single, she says, is The Straw That Broke the Camel's Back. And she accompanied that with an illustration of a camel with Jay-Z's face in the camel. Does that make sense? The camel looked kind of like Jay-Z. And riding the camel was a woman that kind of looked like Desiree Perez, who is the head of Rock Nation. Nicki girl, I don't know. I wish just drop the music. And let Cardi do her thing. If you already proved you better, just let the music speak for itself. So we'll see what happens. Listen, you know what it goes down like over here every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Catch me up. I'm going to catch you up. I'm tired. It's Monday. For all the trending topics and headlines, coming up next is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. He's going to get you straight, get your head together. Another exciting conversation. I'll be back tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, don't believe me, come and see for yourself. Come and see. Somebody please call 911. Cause I'ma need some help. Yeah. Love me a country girl. Oh my God, I'm in love with a country girl. Yeah, and they all around the world. Yes, they is, yeah. They all around the world. Yeah. All around. Brown skin, light skin, dark skin.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell and Attorney General Nick Brown are preparing for the possibility that President Trump sends federal troops to the city.
I personally believe and professionally believe that Trump's actions are distinctly un-American.
The Black mayor will sign an executive order this week that will improve communication between local and state agencies. The Simpsons will return to the big screen in 2027. Disney's 20th Century shared a teaser poster that shows Homer Simpson's hand reaching for a donut along with a tagline, quote, Homer's coming.